Wow. Will major cruise lines ban balcony cabins? Some people are saying they should after this shocking video. We also have a story of a family who missed their cruise and now they're missing their money. And Carnival's taking a hardline stance on those who are tardy. Yep, all that and more on today's episode of The Cruise Show.
All aboard! Your ship is leaving. Talking about everything going on in cruising. It's the Lido Loca time. It's the cruise show. It's the cruise show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to The Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face. For your face on a Sunday the 19th of October, 2025. Man, I'm back from my my adventure to the great Northeast. I've fought storms. I've had a great hangout with the Loca fam, and a lot's been going on in cruising. A lot's been going on outside of cruising. We're going to talk about all of it, but first, let's talk about will major cruise lines or should major cruise lines ban balcony cabins? This video has surfaced on TikTok that shows teenagers maybe climbing on the outside of a cruise ship. This is insane behavior. Now, I don't know how you prevent this behavior. Certainly, parents should tell their kids not to climb on the outside of cruise ships. We've all been kids. We've all done stupid stuff that our parents wouldn't want us to do. So I don't know. I don't know. Is this kids being dumb kids? Is this some parent to blame? I'm assuming that if something bad would have happened to them, somebody would have said the cruise line was to blame. But we've seen this before. I think the reports are anywhere between 20 and 30 people go off the side of cruise ships every year. There's these falling accidents on cruise ships. And we've had, I've heard calls before of people saying, maybe you shouldn't be able to do that. Maybe that you shouldn't have an open balcony like this. I guess there is something you could do. Should these kids, once identified, be punished with like a lifetime cruising ban? Should you punish these kids? Should they be banned from cruising? Should you ban their parents from cruising? Both of those things, I mean, the parent ban seems kind of extreme, but maybe you can't cruise until you're old enough to know not to climb on the balcony. What age is that? Should cruise lines ban balcony cabins because of this? Maybe some say yes. I say no. I mean, look, you can't, this would be tragic if something happened, but you can't let these outlier events, millions of people cruise without incident all the time. You can't let these outlier events, do something like make a balcony not available. I don't think the cruise lines would do that. But yeah, what do you think?
I just thought of a wild scenario. Imagine walking down a street with all of your personal information just printed on your shirt. This is my name. This is my address. This is my birthday. This is my social security number. And well, sometimes when we use the internet while we're traveling, that's exactly what we do. We use free public Wi-Fi and we expose our personal data to the internet. Now, that's why I'm thankful for the sponsor of today's episode, Private Internet Access VPN. Private Internet Access VPN is an application that you run on your internet connected devices, and essentially it's like putting on a coat that no one can see through and covering up all of that private internet data. I like Private Internet Access VPN for several reasons. First, they cover unlimited devices for one price. The other thing I like is they have a no logs policy, so not only are they hiding your data, they're not keeping any of your data for themselves. Big for travelers, especially those who want to stay connected to their favorite streaming services, Netflix, Spotify, others. Some of those services restrict the content that you can get to based on your location. With a VPN, you can connect to a server in the United States and stay connected. Now, the cool thing is you can try PIA VPN for yourself at a discounted rate. Click the link in the description, save 83% off of your PIA VPN subscription. Comes out to about $2.03 a month, and you get 4 months absolutely free. Thank you, PIA VPN, for sponsoring today's episode.
Okay, let's continue to talk about cruising. Let's talk about Galveston, Texas. Galveston, Texas Carnival is celebrating 25 years of sailing from Galveston, Texas. And as we talked about over the last couple of years, Galveston has really been the belle of the ball. A lot of cruise lines trying to make headway in Galveston, and next month's going to be a big one. MSC is going to make their first appearance in Galveston, Texas. We did have a little weird thing from Princess where they went to Galveston for a little bit with the Regal Princess, but that ship had some mechanical issues, and now they're not in Galveston, Texas. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We had a great time again on the group cruise this week. One of the couples that we cruise with, this is interesting. I want to see if you guys get this reference. We cruise with Hank and Peggy Hill, who live in Houston, and they work in propane, and they cruise out of Galveston a lot. Dag nabbit, Tony, so good to be on your group cruise. I work in Hank didn't sound anything like that at all, but it was so cool to meet somebody that, if you don't know the show King of the Hill, watch the show King of the Hill by the same creator as Beavis and Butthead. But yeah, we cruised with Hank and Peggy Hill this week. So Galveston Carnival celebrating 25 years. Here's an interesting question. So we were on the Enchanted Princess this week. Our itinerary, we were to start in New York City. The very next day, we were supposed to go to Providence, Rhode Island, then one day in Boston, one day in Portland, Maine, one day in St. John, New Brunswick in Canada, and then one day in Halifax, and then a sea day. Well, when we got to New York, there was a nor'easter, a storm barreling down on the harbor, so we skedaddled out of there. And so worried about the storm, we just skipped. We just skipped Providence, Rhode Island, went directly to Boston, Mass. And we stayed there. We were going to do an overnight in Boston, but then the nor'easter caught us a little bit, and the harbor pilots closed down Boston Harbor. I'd never seen that before, and said, look, we know you're supposed to leave. We know you're supposed to go to Portland, Maine, where it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow, but we've shut down the pilot service, and you can't leave until noon tomorrow. So we ended up staying 3 days in a rainy Boston. Then eventually we got out of there, and we went to the 2 stops in Canada. It was lovely. We had a great time. It was so fun to be on the group cruise. Made a lot of new friends. Yeah, it was great. Cruising's great. I love it. You know, we got home yesterday, and but interestingly, not everybody was excited about the storm altering our itinerary. And I did get asked on that cruise, will we be getting a refund for missing for the storm, for missing the ports? And I don't think so. I mean, like, you know, the interesting thing is we dropped a couple ports, and normally when you don't go to a port, you get port fees back. But then I'm assuming there was more port fees in Boston. I think it probably all was a wash. But I'll throw the question out to you. If your itinerary gets disrupted by a storm, do you think you are owed a refund? I don't think we are, but maybe you guys think differently. Leave a comment below. And look, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the passing of one of KISS's founding members, Ace Frehley. My favorite member of KISS, the spaceman, funny, quirky, nerdy, and he spoke to me a lot with his guitar playing and his attitude when I was a kid. I've been a member of the KISS Army since 1976, and yeah, you know, that's the problem with getting older is people that were older than us that were influencing us pass away. I was thinking about how weird it is. I think about like my dad's hero was Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson's still alive. My mom's a big fan of Bob Dylan. He's still alive. But you just never know. You know, a lot of people passing last week. You know, it's a funny thing, right? The people are passing all the time whose names we may not know that are just as significant to people in the world. But then there are some people that are elevated to a celebrity status that are impactful to a lot of people. And Ace was certainly one of those people. So for me. So R.I.P. Spaceman. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the other side. All right, 2 big stories left. Let's talk about Carnival getting on to people for being tardy. And we could also talk about people that aren't getting any money back for missing their cruise. Which one you guys want to do first? Which one you want? Let's do we'll do the Carnival one first. How about that? There was a post that went out to Carnival social media to the brand ambassador John Heald, bemoaning the fact that this couple went to the main dining room 35 minutes late. So say dinner started at 5, is early dining. Say dinner started at 5. They showed up at 5:35 and said, "Hey, we're here for dinner." And the maitre d' or the host or whoever at the door said, "Well, you missed it." I'm paraphrasing this, but essentially they said, "No, you can't have dinner here. You should go to the buffet because you're 35 minutes late into a dinner service that should last no longer than 2 hours because we have a second seating." And they were mad. They were incensed that they'd been treated so poorly. They felt like they should be able to come 35 minutes late to a set dinner time and still get seated. I like the policy. Especially when there's a 2 dining system where there's an early dining and a late dining. Some of these cruise lines have just show up anytime dining. That's nice because then it doesn't matter what time you show up, they'll give you a table. But if there is a set dining time, early and late, I don't know what, maybe 5 minutes should be the leeway. I think 5 minutes, I don't think I think I give people at least 5 minutes to show up, maybe 10 minutes. But 35 minutes, I think if you show up 35 minutes late for dinner, you can't eat there. And I think if you show up 10 minutes late for a show, you can't get in. These are my hard and fast rules if they make me the ruler of the cruise world. What do you think? Do you think, does the circumstances matter at all? Some people are habitually late. I'm not saying that was these people's fault. Do you think that's too much to ask, showing up 35 minutes late? Do you think this should still be dealt with? Because it throws the whole service off, really. Those servers they're like kind of in a machine. They're a machine, right? They're going to bring the first course. They're going to bring the second course. They're going to clear the plates. They're going to offer coffee. They're going to bring dessert. That all happens in a cadence. It all happens in a cycle. And say you've got 5 tables and 4 of your tables are on the right cycle and 1 of your tables is off the cycle. Now you're going back like, hey, I know we already took the entrees out, but I need a hot out. That's a disaster. I can see why they turned these folks away. Do you think that's right? Or do you think they should have made an exception? Leave a comment below. And finally, let me tell you about this family. This one's wacky. So, I've covered some stories from the Elliott advocacy group. Sometimes they will interface with cruise lines to help people get money back. This is an article that was written by Christopher Elliott that is detailing a story that he dealt with, talking about a family that had a cruise booked through Holland America, an Alaskan cruise. They booked their air flights through Holland America's airline service. They did not purchase travel insurance. Their flight was canceled for a mechanical reason on the day of the cruise, and there was no other option for them to get to their cruise on time. And because they did not show up for their cruise, they had to, because they couldn't get there, they had to cancel, and they didn't get any of the money back. They lost $4,000 because they could not show up for their cruise because of a mechanical issue with the plane that Holland America Line had booked for them. Now, they thought they should have got the money back because Holland America Line says if we book a flight for you, we will do what we can to get you to the cruise ship. But they don't guarantee that they will get you to the cruise ship, and they don't say, hey, if we don't get you to the cruise ship, you're going to get your money back. And they're saying, well, that's not fair. It's you booked the flight, but again, Holland America is not in charge of the plane. Now, fortunately, Christopher Elliott was able to interface with Holland America Line. He did get them some more money back. He got the price of the flight back for them. They did get like a taxes and port refund, but Holland's not giving them the cruise fare back, saying, look, you got to have travel insurance for that kind of thing. We didn't guarantee that you would get on the ship. And there's also some like, hey, why are you booking the day of the cruise? This is one of them 2-parter takeaways, so listen up. Part 1, I'll say it loud and proud. Don't travel the day of your cruise unless you're absolutely sure you can get there, unless you live next door to the cruise port. Don't travel the day of the cruise. And number 2, have some travel insurance. What do you think? Do you think that Holland America should be on the hook because they booked the flight? They should be on the hook because the airplane broke down? Or do you think these folks are in the hurt locker because they don't have any travel insurance? Look, that's everything that's going on in cruising. Big thanks again to PIA for sponsoring today's episode. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, Tony for the Cruise Show, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.